Welcome to Gun Monkeys Nation with your hosts Josh and Anthony, coming to you from Southern Maryland.
Where we bring to you everything Gun Monkeys Nation, including interviews with small businesses and local heroes.
So sit back and enjoy the show.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Leroy Jank.
Well, welcome to Gun Monkeys Nation podcast number 2.
Yep, this is episode 2, guys. We've been waiting a little while. Sorry for the delay.
It's my fault.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and having a kid and holidays.
I didn't have a kid.
Well, it's not all about you. It's, a couple of us over here had kids.
Yes. Bless you. We'll wait.
Yeah.
We're not going to cut that out because we're already in.
Yeah.
So anyways, I guess this episode we are joined by John from One Nation Coffee.
Yep.
How you doing?
John.
I'm doing really good. Which one am I talking to?
You can talk to anyone you want. You
Yeah.
could talk to the camera, you can talk to the wall.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and it's been a great evening so far. So I've been
I had some
enjoying it.
amazing food.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
steaks
Yeah.
On the Traeger.
on the
Yeah.
Traeger.
Yep.
Brussels sprouts never tasted so good. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was delicious. You put bacon with it. you
Yeah.
know.
Megan did.
Yeah.
No, I cooked it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, it's her recipe, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Credit where credit's due.
huh?
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
man.
But we wanted to have John on the show because we met him. It's probably been 2 years now.
Yeah.
And we got hooked up with him and started selling his coffee in the shop and learned that he's a pretty cool guy and the company is even cooler.
Yeah. Cooler than me.
It's more than just you, John.
Yeah, it's just me.
So give us a little quick and dirty of, who you are, what you do.
With outside of One Nation? Or
You can just you as an individual.
Yeah, okay. My name is John Richards. I'm one of the co-founders of One Nation Coffee. I'm currently active duty Navy EOD. I'm a senior chief with the Navy, and I'm happily married, and I have 3 kids, almost a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 10-month-old. So,
Wow.
so as you can see, I do Navy full time, and then One Nation Coffee on the side. So I don't like any downtime at all
Yeah.
right now, not at all.
Yeah, it seems like they're probably both full-time jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 3 full-time jobs
Yep.
with tollers and everything like that. And so, I've been in the Navy for 17 years and love it. But as you start getting towards like retirement, a couple years ago, my business partner, who's law enforcement down in Charleston, South Carolina, his name's Philip Moniz. He's a sergeant with the police department down there. We've been childhood friends since 3rd grade. So we met obviously in 3rd grade. So we came up with this idea a couple years ago about we've been active about 2.5 years. But we wanted to, I guess your next question was like, how did One Nation come about? So
Yeah, were you guys like always like coffee enthusiasts or?
Well, I mean, obviously, we do enjoy coffee. I mean, like in our business,
Who doesn't?
In the military and then in the law enforcement, I mean, from energy drinks to coffee, something that's going to keep you warm or like get that caffeine because you're always just like days just blend into each other, and so I know my business partner Phil, who runs like the day-to-day operations, the roasting and all that stuff, he was always kind of the enthusiast of like, he had a popcorn roaster and he was roasting and trying different things because working like night shift, you're like getting a 7-Eleven coffee, like just burnt crappy coffee, and so he was always looking how to make good coffee. And so we were sitting around. It was mainly during the election year where everything was like uber sensitive and polarized. Like it seemed like when you walk into Starbucks at the time, you had to give your party's affiliation, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were just like, this is ridiculous. And so we were just kind of like, man, where's a coffee for guys like us? And obviously, Black Rifle was kind of coming on the scene, you know, and so we were kind of like taking some encouragement, but we're like, who's representing us? Who else is out there? And we didn't know of anyone else, so we started looking into it, and then we just dug into it. We found a place where we could roast. The company's Coastal Roasters. It's family owned. The son's like a master roaster. He helped us develop our roasts and refined them, and then from there it's history. We've just been growing over the last couple of years, and just doing really good. We've partnered with a foundation called When Life Sucks, and that's a big part of who we are. Not only do we, from making that great coffee, but we want to set an example of companies of doing the right thing, and a big part of that is giving back. So every dollar or every bag of that we sell, we donate $1 to When Life Sucks. That helps veterans and law enforcement with PTSD, and that was, you know, they're all about helping veterans that get out there and to get them off the heavy medications and stuff. And Pat Ellswick, he's the founder of it, and he's former Marine, and he crushes it. They really do what they say they do.
Oh yeah.
And so
he's high speed, man. Yeah,
you guys started partnering with him on some things that you guys are doing too.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we took it from you. You know, you said that you wanted to, show other businesses about, teach them about, helping out with other stuff, and so we just followed suit, and we decided to donate a portion of every firearm sale that we get to them, and then on top of that, we're doing that gift basket raffle. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because when we called Pat to talk to him, just to clear it by him and be like, hey, we're thinking about doing this. He was actually in the middle of delivering Christmas trees.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talked to him, but he just was nonstop.
Yeah, yep. But anytime you call him, he's always in the middle of something. It doesn't matter. You're always catching him right in the middle of something, because he's just all energy, and every time you call him, he's like, hey man, I'm right in the middle, but what do you got? And so
we're looking forward to taking that trip down to the banquet, man. That's
the Save 22 banquet. It's did you guys get the dates? May 16th.
Oh, okay. Is that we were trying to find a date for it, but I don't know if we did.
Well, he just told me not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
Because last year was like in June,
July, yeah.
And so this year's a little bit earlier. So May 16th, so we can cruise down.
Yeah, man. Take a road trip.
Yeah, I know. I kind of when you got more questions, I kind of just kept.
Oh, I get
talking.
No, it's perfect, fine, man. Yeah. I actually got a question that has to do with the one that we were just talking about. Was I've always wanted to know, did you guys start like just roasting it as like a hobby? Just like, hey, why don't we just like try our own different roast and like order like a cup of beans from Cuba, Colombia, or wherever, and then just like start trying stuff? Or how did like I get where the idea came from, but where how far did that passion go back?
Well, that all came from my business partner Phil. Like I said, he had like a what you would call like a popcorn roaster in his garage, and he was always, anytime I'd go visit, he was always trying different beans, and because you can order like the green beans like online, and he would get them in. He was like in there popping away and trying to get. It's like, let's try this, and so when we were kind of thinking of like we wanted to do like a business, and so it kind of came up, and we wanted to do like an online roasting business, because we definitely didn't have the bandwidth to do a brick and mortar like coffee shop and stuff like that. Yeah. So this gave us the flexibility to.
I mean, you were still active duty.
Yeah. I still am. So it's but no, he had that passion, and he really was the one who started, because everything always starts off as ideas, right? And so then it's just kind of like, well, let's let's see where it goes. And then we
Yeah.
started asking questions and meeting with people. Then it was like, the process, it's pretty, I mean, you guys started a business and it's trying to find your identity.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually a lot harder than what you think it is like branding yourself,
Especially when you're dealing with other companies that doing the exact same thing you're doing, separating yourself from.
But I think, I mean, you guys kind of knew where you were going to be at anyway, because you are an amazing marketing guy. When it comes to, if anybody that's listening to this podcast has walked up to John and he's trying to sell you some coffee.
Hasn't even walked up to him. He
grabbed
you.
You're walking by and he's grabbing your attention. You're great at marketing. And then you said Phil's, had this passion for roasting.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of fell into those positions already.
Yeah.
So I can see that
it kind of grew. Like, I think, like, at least on my end, I mean, like with Phil's side, just the nature of it, of the business of what we do, military, first responders and stuff, like you're always like used to that grind, no pun intended, and it's just like, and so like Phil with the law enforcement, he just found those hours once we started going and getting into the roaster, and he would get in there and he would blend work with roasting, and whenever he has free time, and still to this day, like if he's working nights, like on his off nights, he's still down there at the roaster doing it late at night, or getting the beans, like grinding and bagging, and so it's a never-ending job. And like really, like Phil does so much right now for the business. Since for you guys that don't know, we're out of Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm currently stationed up here in Maryland at Indian Head. So as Anthony was saying, like I do a lot of the marketing and selling it at events and going and talking to people, but Phil does the day in, day out grind. And like, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be in business without his dedication to that, and it is a beautiful blend of where we had those personalities where I can go and sell it. I can at least talk to people, but that kind of grew. What I was initially getting at is that when you're starting this, like one of the things you have to mentally, like at least in my mind, how it went. Like I had to like people that don't know, like when you start a business, because it's an idea, it like evolves from an idea to like, no, we're actually doing this. I mean, it's a little bit easier when you have a brick and mortar because you're like, this is my store. This is legit, but when you're doing online and you have a product and you're like half the time, is this a hobby? Like when you're first starting out, like where do you finally connect with like, no, I am a real company, and so that took a little bit of time. And then as I started selling it and watching, like going to events and watching people just sitting there and hoping people would walk by, I was just kind of like that's the other side of the military. It's just like, I'm just not going to stand by. I'm gonna be proactive, and just started talking to people. And I had to get over myself because I knew that like it's only going to be me and my buddy, obviously our families. But like if I'm selling it, it's going to be me that's going to like approach you. It's like I have to conquer myself first, and so I had to get over that, like being nervous or being like shy or like, no, I'm not going to talk to about my business. But if I want it to be successful, I have to be shameless about it. I have to be like, no, that's what I'm about, man. Come here, like I gotta pull you in.
Yeah, you bring them in, not the coffee. I mean, you're not out there roasting and everybody's smelling it. Like, hey, no, you're the face. You're One Nation Coffee. That's what they see, and then you get them in, and then the coffee's amazing. Yeah. So that's what gets them hooked.
Yeah. So prior to y'all starting, like, what kind of business experience did either one of you have?
That's a really good question. I'll start with me. Like when I was in high school, I had a shaved ice company. Like I sold shaved ice, stand. Yeah. If you're familiar with San Diego 32nd Street, we used to sell shaved ice during the summers. But my business partner Phil, he grew up in the Chick-fil-A family. His folks owned several Chick-fil-A's throughout the Charleston area, and then he kind of got into the corporate, and then he had a passion for doing something, law enforcement or military, and so he started going the law enforcement route. So he got out of the Chick-fil-A business and then went that way. But obviously growing up in it, it's like, it's my pleasure. It's like the customer's always right.
Yeah.
Like he's still,
yeah.
And
well, that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. I mean, even me in the shop, it's tough, because, even like customer come in and they'll talk about something and they'll make a mistake and I'll have to be like, shake my head. I can't just sit there. I'm not going to be that guy that corrects everybody that walks in in the shop I mean,
you can, but then is it advantageous, right? And so it's like, and that's a big thing that we learn. And like, if we make the mistake online, or like especially online orders or whatever, if something go wrong, we try to eat that cost and and send it out, because it's so important, because we work so hard to get that customer, and it just takes one person to complain, and like, I think most people are understanding that human error happens, it's how we respond and deal with it, and that's where it's like, hey, that was my bad. Hey, we're sending out you a new bag.
And especially for a product that it's not like you buy it and you're done. Like, oh, I'm buying a car, so I bought a car and I'm not going to need one for another, how many years. It's a product that, if they like it, they're going to need
next
it
week.
Next week. And, so you want them coming back, and you want that good customer service.
And at the same time, it is like actually it's Pat Ellswick from WLS. He kind of taught me this, just kind of like interaction with people. It's like, it's not my goal. Like, if you've come to my table and people come, like, it's not my goal or desire to like try to like sell you a bag of coffee. Like, hey, buy this bag, you got you. My goal is to explain to you what we're about. Like, I'd rather sell you on the idea of One Nation coffee than one bag, because like I could probably strong arm you, or like, like you can pick up on social cues and like kind of manipulate someone to buy one bag of coffee. But what does that do for me? Like, I'd rather sell you on One Nation, and tell you like, hey, buy into like who we are, and then they like that idea. And then, oh, by the way, our coffee is really good, and so it's more. And to me, I want to be more than just a coffee company. I want to be, a company that stands for something, that provides a great coffee, and then people can be like with so many different choices out there, like. I want people obviously to really enjoy the coffee, but then they can be like, what, it's a little bit extra or whatever, depending on what they spend on coffee, but it goes for a good cause. They're a great company. I think like when you get behind a great company, you're like, oh man, those guys are cool. Not just us in general, but like when myself supporting, like when I talk about you guys, I'm always like, man, they're veteran owned. I just like going. My wife gets mad at me because I usually spend like an hour just when I come by and drop something off. We're just like hanging out at your shop. She's like, oh yeah, 5 minutes, yeah, right,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like
the line was out the door.
Yeah, we try to obviously we try to make the atmosphere in the shop comfortable, because I don't want somebody to be stressed out when they come into a gun shop, for one thing. Plus, that's my passion. Just so, and then we're friends, so you come in and hang out, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you need to wash it down.
Actually, my coffee is
we can all take a coffee break.
Yeah. Get it out.
And we're back.
And we're back.
So how many roasts do you guys have right now?
I always go with 4, but I always forget our decaf. So 5, I never count my decaf.
We didn't forget it. It's up there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's one of the ones.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's only, none of us can count, and there's only 3 out of the 5, I guess, that's representing here.
Yeah. We're sold out of the other ones.
Yeah. Good answer. Yeah. But it's true, right?
It's true.
Right. And
so can you just quickly go over what ones you have?
Okay, so I'll go from the genesis. So we our first roast was it's called Taste Like Freedom.
Yes,
it's,
my favorite.
It's the medium roast. It's 100% Arabica. That was our first roast that we came out with, and then from there we went to JB's Buckshot Blend, and that's a medium dark roast. And at the time, like when we first started, I had my cousin. He was part of the company, and we called him JB, and he was just like, I want something. He was like the token redneck hunter, like that was part of our, so he eventually he moved to Kansas and he had to get out, so he moved away. There's no connectivity in Kansas, and so, but like when we developed that roast, he was like, I want the word blend in it, so we need to make it a blend. And so we're like, oh, okay. And so so we took that Arabica from the Taste Like Freedom, the Columbia, and then we blended in a Robusta bean, and we made it a little bit darker for that medium dark. And like we just kind of stumbled upon it just off of what my cousin was like, I want blend in it. So we're like, well, we need to make a blend. So we had the name first. Usually you get the roast and then you name it, but the whole roast and blend was based off the name. And so JB's Buckshot Blend was made, and and that one just like people were just like amazed, like you guys actually made this roast.
Isn't
right?
that your favorite? Isn't that your favorite
JB's?
I like the Moab.
And then Moab.
Okay.
And then we went a little bit darker. We're like, hey, this is really good. And then we went to the dark roast Moab, which is we do a 70-30 blend of the Robusta and the Arabica.
Doesn't it say it's like top secret? Oh no, the location.
Location.
Yeah.
It's not really. It's just makes it more serious, and so.
Don't have to reveal all your secrets tonight.
But those two, in my opinion, those two are the best sellers. Is our dark roast and then our medium dark.
Definitely.
And then from there, we were like, we needed a breakfast roast, and so we found a Tanzanian peaberry, which like really encapsulates that, or I should say, embodies that breakfast roast. And so and for people that have like indigestion or heartburn or whatever, it's non-acidic, so it's easier on the guts.
Where'd you come up with that name?
Reveille,
It's just something that came to you one night, huh?
Yeah, well, it was with the military, Reveille, and so it's that morning, it's that wake up. So
it means get the hell up.
Yeah, get up. And so, friends, people that know me, they want to. Everyone calls me JC, and they know that like everyone in the military knows that my pants, I pretty much don't have a butt, so like my pants never fit, so it's like my crack is always showing. So all my buddies wanted me to call it
I would have that
JC's crack. Crack of dawn or something like that. And so, but we didn't go with that one.
I like Reveille better.
Yeah,
I mean, JC's crack of dawn would have sold.
Or the morning moon.
Yeah. And so those were our 4 main roasts, and then by demand for a couple of restaurants that we were doing, they wanted a decaf. So that one actually took the longest. Like, I mean, in general, when you drink a decaf, it just tastes weird. Like through the process, I didn't realize that you can naturally decaf. You can do naturally. There's a natural ways, and then there's a chemical way to get decaf coffee, and so I didn't realize that.
Jeez.
And then we're like, oh, and so we went with the natural way because it's more people like it. I mean, like,
you know?
I found out if I pour ammonia in it.
Yeah, ammonia and bleach, stir it up, light it off.
And so it's it's keto friendly too.
Yeah. Well, I know that. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's where we came up, and that one's called Inert. And so that's for the pregnant women and older people that want to have their coffee too.
Pay a little homage to your EOD roots too. Yeah.
We try to
man.
keep that. Since we are a veteran and LEO owned. That's another thing that's funny. Because there's the two main questions I get asked. It's like first question is, when are you getting K-Cups?
Yep.
And the second question is, what is Leo?
Who's Leo? Somebody asked me that today.
Is that like the sign, your sign? I'm like, no, it's a law enforcement officer. And so, but yeah. No, fun facts.
So when are you getting
K-Cups?
Yeah. Now we anybody that's been in the shop knows that we always have coffee, and they're K cups just because it's ease of use. So I always give John a little grief, because they're working on it, but
you're not the only one. Everyone like since I've been stationed here, we've been doing a lot of the same events, and now I'm getting called out on it because like last year when I did like the Kris Kringle or the fair. They were like, when are you getting K-Cups? I was like, sometime this year. And now they're back, and they're like, you said that last year. I'm like, dang it. What?
Calling you out, man.
Under new management. Yeah. I don't know. I just, we've had a K-Cup machine, and I can't get past, just making
nothing's better than a French press. Yeah. That's the best way.
Because I like my coffee strong. Press.
Yeah.
And I just, I can't get the strength out of Okay, that's just me personally.
Yeah, it's just ease of use at the shop. That's the thing,
Less wasteful.
Yeah.
What we found though, even with K cups, is because it's per dose or like how much, grams or ounces, and not grams, like ounces.
That's something else.
That's something else. That's a totally different strength.
That's a highly caffeinated coffee.
But your ounces, it's how much you put in that K cup. I think each company can vary, and that's where we never want to be called as weak. So I know we can actually do K cups by hand. We just don't advertise it because Phil, he has to do that. It's a lot of intensive, just setting it up and scooping it in and weighing everything out, and he's all about quality control.
Consistency. You don't want somebody getting a.
But we fill our K cups up high because we'd rather have it. We'd rather eat that extra cost of coffee, than being accused of having a weak.
Yeah. Well, I think I just found I like it stronger than most people. I like it almost be like tar when you pour it.
Have you ever tried to pour over?
Yes, I actually have a pour over upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My French press broke.
Yeah, that's what happened to me on deployment. My French press broke and then got to pour over.
I like the French press better.
The quality's better, but the cleanup is easier with the
French press.
Well, I usually
pour over.
I usually just keep on adding grinds for a week and then
nice.
Do a week of the clean out.
My French press it just unscrews and just rinse it off and.
My pour over, I got the filters for it, so it would sit on top of my mug, so it just hooks in, and then I just put it in there, filter, and then scoop in the one with hot water from a kettle. You just.
Do you get any silt at the bottom?
No, because the filter's in there, and then you just take that filter, throw it away, and then rinse out, and it's a lot easier than trying to get the grinds out of your French press.
Oh yeah.
It's all first world problems, right?
Yeah.
I got grinds in my French press.
Dang it! Right? That's what you're like. My French press broke.
Yeah. Man.
Welcome to Monday.
Yeah. Sick, man.
Oh man.
So it's where are we in life? talking about French press. Like trying to get our grass to grow and French press problems.
I worked hard on my grass this year.
I think those are, you can gauge where you're at in life, you know, like, yep, I'm right around 40. I'm talking about my grass and kids.
Or does this water taste a little funny?
I think we need to change the filter.
Yeah.
So what are some challenges you guys have faced? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, Josh. A lot of
nailed it.
A lot of questions. Aren't you stoked when you ask a good question?
Yeah.
Especially like in training, you're like, oh yeah, I contributed.
Well, I don't know if you're just being polite.
No,
like, what's your favorite question? Oh, Josh, that's a really good question. You know.
So, I'm totally stalling to try to think. No, just kidding. The main challenge is that since the Navy pays my bills, you know, like I an incumbent to, like, when they asked me to deploy, I got to deploy, you know, and so that's been really the challenges of not only you know, everything in the military. It's just like working long days, random hours, you know, but I'm also really avid family person too, you know, and so I would say that, but still the Navy, they take about 80% of my time, and then the other 20% is family and One Nation Coffee. And so so that's a big part of it, is just trying to find the bandwidth of, like, you know, we always have these great ideas and there's things that we want to do more, you know, and that's why we've been slow rolling. Honestly, is like we could go get the loan and get the K-Cup, but I'm trying to move down to Charleston so we can combine forces and kind of pick that up. So that's been a big part with me being stationed up here in Maryland and Phil down in Charleston, because that's where we roast out of. So that's one of the main challenges. But like everything else is just when you go to like these events or workshops for businesses, and they have so many great ideas for like social media, you know, and like things like this, like start your own podcast, and you know, like
such a dumb idea.
Have you know, Instagram posts. You need to post at least like twice a day, and then you know, might want to try TikTok and
go live.
Like, but like, dude, I didn't even have an Instagram account. I didn't even know what it was before I had a company, and I joke, like when people come, you meet me, I'm like always like, hey, you know, like us and follow us, because you're not a real company. You know,
unless you have social media
followers, and it's true.
Oh yeah,
you know, and so so that's the other half, is like trying to manage that. But at the end of the day, is like, I guess really the hard thing is maintaining patience, because it's like the realities of like our jobs and the go-getters, and like, hey, I want to tackle problems, you know, and I have the solutions, but it's just kind of like I can't put everything into it right now, because I also have responsibilities with work, and I have responsibilities as a husband and as a father, you know, and so like I can't lose sight. And same thing with my business partner, he can't lose sight on his family and his job, you know, because we got to manage that. Because if I become very successful with One Nation and then lose that relationship with my wife, or don't bond as well with my kids, you know, then I've lost, you know. And so, because the whole point is to better our lives, better society. But if I'm not taking care of my own tribe at home, my own family, then, you know, the stuff in my mind wouldn't really matter, you know. Like, I failed at my primary mission and job as being a husband and father, you know. And so, and senior chief. So, but mainly those are the important things. So that's, you know, is finding that time, because especially people that are starting businesses, as you know, it's always going to be more money and more time, you know, that sweat equity, than you think it's going to be, you know. And it's you know, and it's that dedication. Like a lot of books that you read is most businesses fail because people just don't have the follow through, and it's just you got to realize that, it's the long game that you're playing, and it's, so, and that's, you guys get that.
Have you had people doubt you coming through?
Yeah.
I mean, besides yourself, I'm sure that I know as a business owner, I've doubted myself and the company countless times, and just reading and doing a lot of studying and reading about other companies that have gone through the same problems that I have, even though I think it's just my problems.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, besides that, I mean, you
Yeah, you definitely take comfort in that. I mean, and then like you're always gonna have those days where you're just like, oh man, like especially like Black Rifle or Matt Best, they're on Fox News and they're just like, oh, we just donated all this coffee to this police station. And you're like, I wanted to do that too. Like you're like, how do I tackle that? And then first is have goals of not being number one. I'll be happy with number two. And so, but,
size, like I'm sure you don't have $100,000 or $1,000 that you can just dump out towards something. So I mean, every little bit helps, even when you're trying to do something good. I mean, you feel it. Like even when we run a sale, like our firearms, like 5% sale, that might not sound like a lot, but for us that's huge.
Especially, I mean, the markup for us isn't in the firearms, but that's what everybody wants. So the markups in the accessories and the gunsmithing and the ammunition, but people to get them in the door, you need those good prices for guns. And your coffee is a competitive price. It's in there with everybody else, and the quality's up there with the big name guys. I'm not a big fan of the dark roast. We talked Reveille and Taste Like Freedom, my two favorite ones. But you're putting out a good product. You're at a competitive price, and that's what's important.
I mean, that's just with everything. We had to like focus on who's our target. And it's definitely the veterans, law enforcement, for LEOs, their family, first responders, and just like people that love America. The traditional values of America, like what made America great. And so as we want to, that's our target, but we're not like, we don't want to push people away because they disagree, because, like one of our catchphrases, or at least when I do little Instagram posts, is like, I say that, as we drink one nation, let us be one nation, because, that's where our idea, we came from, of like who's representing us. But at the same time, there's so many entities out there that are just pushing that hate and everything like that. It's just like, what, like I think a lot of people can learn from the military, and probably law enforcement as well. But since my experience is military, your military too, is that like it's all creeds, all backgrounds, like all colors, like all this, and we can all come together and we can take care of a mission. And we can make fun of each other at the same time, and it's just like, like where else can you do that these days, and so, and that's what one of the main lessons I've learned from the military. It's just like, man, like really, it's not about color, where you at, it's about your character. That's how I'm going to define you, and that's what we want to try to share with people. It's just like, hey man, we can agree to disagree and still take care of a mission. And so we can have our differences, but we agree that like, we can make society a little bit better.
That's like, since I got out and still stayed in contact with a lot of guys that I was in with, and seeing how they fall back into their normal routine as like a civilian and the people that they were raised with. And then I see how they are as a civilian. And I'm like, wow, I would have never wanted to be friends with somebody like that, or associated with them, maybe because their political views or whatnot. But then I realized that, that's my brother. Like that, I'd still do anything for him. Maybe we just now not talk about, maybe politics or religion in the conversation, but we still would talk every day, and we're still friends, and still do whatever we could for each other, because like you said, we're one nation. You know.
Yeah. Comments, Josh? You got anything?
Well, I was just thinking, like, no matter what your differences are, everybody can agree that they like good coffee.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
we don't even have to talk. We can just,
let's
just
have
drink some good coffee together.
1% of people that are like, nah, I'm not a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
there's the door.
Yeah.
That's another catch. We haven't really used it a lot, or but one of our other ones was like, let's come together on common grounds.
That's cute.
You're getting up there with those like dad jokes.
I am a dad, and so I'll be here all week. So.
You talked a little bit about social media. So, what kind of impact has social media had on you? And like, you said that you didn't even have an Instagram before. So, what have you learned?
I've learned that you need it. And so, and once again with that, it's like you're always looking like when you see some of those counts that are like 100,000 or even 50,000 followers,
7,000.
Yeah, you're just like you're like wow, like how do you do that? Trying to find that bandwidth to get up, and it's like that'd be pretty cool to get that someday, and it just takes work on that side. And once again, that's the balance, because, we find that we do get customers from Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. People come in, and we can put out advertising, and especially if we're running like a Black Friday sale, like we do see an uptick when we post stuff out there. So that is definitely beneficial. But once again, it's like I can't beat myself up so much when I can't get a post out, like especially this last couple of weeks. Like I've gotten like one out there, but between like work and kids being sick, and like even though it takes a couple minutes, but it's still like, man, it is difficult to like really try to maintain that, and hopefully like with time, as things slow down, we can pick that up more. But it definitely is important, but at the same time, you got to be realistic in our jobs, like with what we're doing. But I definitely, I went to, it was the MIC, it was Military Influence Conference in DC back in August, where we actually picked up, we were Veteran-Owned Business of the Year for 2019.
Nice.
So we won that. So that was pretty surprising, and so, but that was all, a lot of that was grassroots, and through, we advertised like, hey, about it, but that was all done like on the web, and so we like, that was customers and people that knew us voting. It wasn't a judge. It was by votes. It was by people, like how we won that, and so.
This must have been a lot of votes you had to buy.
Yeah.
You had to buy a lot of votes, huh?
Well, like, because there's a whole science between the whole social media thing, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I know with us personally, like,
Yeah.
We'll throw up, running a sale on this or whatever, and we'll get some likes and reaction. But then we'll put, some funny meme or stupid picture, and it's like triple the amount of interaction and people see it and stuff like that.
They get like 20 shares, and you can see how many people have seen it, and it's usually 3 or 4 times as many that have seen our regular posts.
And anything that we put that's like on a personal level, people like react to that and like draw more into that than just seeing an advertisement.
Live videos are great.
Yeah.
You know what you need for social media? You need a Josh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm terrible.
I do. We do. But that's. But I did learn a lot, though. I did take a class on it at that conference, and there's so many different ways. I mean, the reality is of like, when you're posting is obviously trying to find that connection, seeing what it is, and then relevant substance. So you don't always have to like go, hey, we're One Nation Coffee, we have good coffee. It's like telling the stories, like relating to people, getting that back. If you have like a spoke, you're trying to like connect to people, and then like maybe like the third section of it, it's like hey, it's leading to buying coffee. So it's like if you sold eggs, maybe you would do a post on like, hey, this is a really delicious cake.
Yeah.
It's how you make it. And oh, by the way, to make the best cake, you use our eggs,
Yep.
And so like, so
I thought you sold
like
coffee.
cold brew.
Yeah. Well,
like
it's an analogy, Josh.
like if directions on how to make cold brew.
Yeah.
But the best cold brew is with One Nation
There
coffee.
we go. That's a better analogy.
Yeah, there you go.
Forget the egg analogy.
It's also about a good balance too, because you can't. There's companies out there that we've seen, and they'll post 4 selfie videos a day of just them, and it gets annoying. You don't want to see. You want to see content. You want to see specials, or you want to see cool memes, or you want to see ads about making a cake. It's all about the balance, and you're not gonna keep those followers if you don't have a good balance.
And when you talk about time in itself, it's hard enough doing what you had to do for a business, then let alone trying to make time to do some kind of some kind of, what do they call it, content, to come up with your own content.
What's that thing called?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, content.
See, and you want me to be the social guy.
I don't know. We'll see if this podcast has any content.
We have like, we always have some, ideas. We're like, oh, it'd be fun to do this video or do that. And then it's like, well, we don't have time to do it. So just talk about it.
Yeah, I was just saying that to my business partner, just like I think yesterday I was talking to him, because it's like I literally, I have so many ideas. I mean, same thing like you guys, like especially like you're talking about relating us to like Black Rifle and how they do like all these awesome funny videos, and like sometimes I'm like frustrated because it's like I had that same idea, but I don't have the resources. Well, it's not that I don't do it, I just don't have the bandwidth, to do it. Like I
don't have full autos. I don't have some SBRs laying around. I don't have a.
And so obviously they got up to that point, and so but it's like saving that once again. It's it's appreciating where they're at, those guys, and they've definitely paved the way. And so I equate them. I put us. When people ask us like, well, describe One Nation Coffee. And I'm like, it's like, well, take Black Rifle, and we're between Black Rifle and Duck Dynasty, and so like because of like we like the military humor, but yet we're a little bit older and we're family. We do a lot of family oriented stuff, and we're we want that whole military law enforcement family. So it's like between the two, we don't have a lot of bikinis and. And
I mean, I could put one on if you want me to, but
so,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they have music videos, and they've come out with a movie, and I mean, when are y'all gonna?
Hey, we're still working on K-Cups, bro.
K-Cups the movie.
Yeah, right. To be continued.
2035.
We do, but the other side is like we still really appreciate what they do, because I mean they are like the Traeger. And then the Yetis of the coffee world. We're coming up. I'm like the camp chef,
George Foreman,
like the Arteric. So we're moving along. So people are like, "Hey, were you guys on Fox News?" And I just kind of like, "Yeah, that was us." Buy our coffee. Like,
fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt Best. Yeah.
No, but now you can tell me you've been on Gun Monkeys Nation podcast.
Yeah, they haven't.
There's that.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, like you're talking about. It's like, no, we're loving it, and we're enjoying it, and so it's, I have to be honest, like I was saying, like I've been in Navy EOD for about 17, coming up April will be 18 years, and I love it. I love the community. I've loved what I've done with the military. I've never thought I would find something else that I would have, obviously besides the family, but like when you're talking about like in the work world, something I would have a passion for. And like if you would have told me like 10 years ago, like, hey, you're going to be co-founder of a coffee company and doing all this stuff with it, I'd be like, crazy, And so, but I truly have a passion for it. Not only like, I mean, you guys been to my house, like I love it when I make good steaks and like giving you like, hey man, try this, do this. So like that customer, like I'm really happy whenever we get emails all the time of like, hey man, we love your coffee. Oh, this is awesome. That really motivates me and Phil, and the fact that we're partnered with WLS, and then like everything that we're striving to do with veterans and law enforcement, and just go that extra mile, just means the world. Like I'm a passionate person, so like I'm excited for a transition. Like as I approaching retirement, like I'm excited to go full time into One Nation and really make a difference. Hopefully, like obviously with my family, but make a difference in society with One Nation.
I mean, it'll be exciting too to kind of see you've been doing this far, kind of like with an arm tied behind your back. Yeah. Then once you retire, it's come out swinging.
Yeah, come out swinging. So we're working towards that, and so I mean that's my dream. Like I think even my business partner, it's his dream. Like some people are motivated by money, which isn't a bad thing, but I think one of us is like obviously we want to be successful. At least me, I speak for myself. Like I want to be successful to be a positive influence on society. I want to use my sphere of influence. If I were to rise up, people are like, why do you want to be successful? So that I can be able to encourage people to like, find their passion, to find like who you want to support, and what you want to do. And like, I love the military. So I am fortunate that I have a good family that, I've lost teammates in combat. I have friends that have suffered from PTSD and everything like that. And fortunately, I don't really suffer. So like, I am fortunate to be able to do this business. So that's where I never want to forget where I come from and be able to give back when it comes to that. And like I said, I know you guys have the same heart because you guys are already taking strides to give back to the community and all that you guys do with your fundraisers and the lodge and all that stuff. So I know that we are on the same wavelength when it comes
following your lead, man.
Yeah.
So you have I know we got into WLS for a little bit. You have anything else to add about Pat and the amazing foundation?
Yeah, just like on Pat, like Pat was a scout. He was a Marine scout, and he did two tours to Fallujah, and he like really was like affected by that and had PTSD, and then he got out of the Marines, was successfully, like he was treated, from that. So he has that experience, and then he went on to, be very successful in hunting apparel businesses and whatnot. And, and that's where he was very successful. He sold those companies and started this foundation solely to give back because he was so blessed from the treatment that he got. He's like, he doesn't want guys to be left behind and do that. So like with WLS, when life sucks, it really is like, if your life's sucking right now, give those guys a call because they really mean what they say. They really want to support you and try to help you, and they like, they do so much. They advertise a lot, like some of the things, but like when you sit down with Pat and like all the other stuff that they do that they don't advertise is just absolutely amazing. They really do. Like he collects a paycheck and then he just puts it back because of how the foundation runs. He's required to take a paycheck, but he just puts it back into the company because he's like, I don't need it,
Well, he was telling us too, even one of his other companies.
Yeah.
He takes that paycheck and just puts it right back in there from, a company that has nothing to do with it's his personal. And just,
his like, salary that he takes from that as the CEO, he just donates it right in.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and I'm glad that like both of our companies can help out in giving, because obviously, the company can't just run on good looks or whatnot.
Good with
definitely not our good looks.
Yeah, right.
Speak for yourself.
But it's important that people like us and other people do donate, so they are able to help people. But then they're also not able to help people that don't ask for the help. So like, we're going to start encouraging, like if you know somebody or if you're having an issue, it will never get better without talking about it, and getting it out. It just leaving it in is not. I mean, that's
especially, and that's a good point, Anthony. And that's like one of the things that they do is that they do suicide prevention, and they have a suicide hotline. I know they're really passionate about it. I know at least within the EOD community, we've been hit hard recently with a lot of suicides and stuff like that. And they do a big, what we were talking about earlier about the banquet dinner is the Save 22 banquet dinner, which they're putting on May 16th. And last year, I believe, like, I'm sure, Pat, if you're watching, you'll correct me, but I think roughly around they raised $150,000.
That's amazing.
Last year.
Yeah, and I know they had like Ruger. Somebody donated stuff, and this year I think they said something about SIG, or maybe that was last year or something.
No, I think he said SIG, and I think Pat said a Range Rover is going to get given away this year. So,
nah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. So that's why we're going, right? I'm
going to stick my number on the side.
If Pat's ever in town, we definitely want him on too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But honestly though, they advertise all that, but they're real big into suicide prevention. They're all about getting guys off of medication, and then engaged with life, because that's a real way to tackle PTSD. Is to get out there hunting, fishing, whatever it is, finding those life goals and doing that. And the other big thing is a lot of foundations. There's not a lot of foundations for law enforcement.
Right.
It's so easy to love the military and so easy to hate the law enforcement.
Yeah.
And so, they took that risk, and, a lot of the donations come in for military, but they do a good big chunk. I forget how much they gave last year to the local, Anderson Police Department. I think they gave.
Wow, that's awesome.
Like 30 or I forget, but they gave a good percentage to help law enforcement just from that Save 22 for that.
I want to say last year, 2019, it was an average of 4 police officer suicides a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a week. And now I know that's nothing compared to the 22 a day. Yeah. For veterans, but a lot of people just don't see that, and it's still, we still need to bring attention to that. And they just started part of the. I was just reading up on some stuff that they're, how you go to, like you went to the thing for the businesses, like a convention or something. Yeah. Well, there's police and fire conventions, and they've actually started like a continuing ed training for police officers and firefighters that to deal with stress, because we have the critical incident debriefing teams that will come out during a bad incident, and that's fine, but sometimes you haven't even been able to decompress for 48 hours till afterwards, and then weeks after that, and that's why they're starting to have these trainings and times where you're able to come in and talk about stuff and deal with, because the trauma that we deal with in military, fire, EMS, and police is going to stay with us forever. Yeah. But learning how to cope with that is really important. And so now that with them initiating these, these in the conferences, doing these classes, so people can teach themselves and others how to cope with it. That's pretty important. But 4 a day is more. 4 a week is more than I would have thought.
Yeah, still one. Is too many.
And in the local fire departments, I remember hearing about a couple in DC, and then a close friend of mine who just retired out of DC. He was one of my FTOs when I was training to be a medic, and he took his own life recently.
Yeah, it's
so
tough,
sad. Man.
Yeah, it definitely is, and that's where it's getting it out there, and then that's where we can make that difference, and provide a good product. I think people really resonate with our story and who we are, but then we're still not anything if we don't have a good product, you know. And I think people really like that, and I think, like you're saying, like when I talk to people, when I get them to come over, I find like more times than not, like I said, I don't even start off talking about the coffee. I tell them like who we are and what we're about, and people resonate with that, and then they're like, oh well, let me check out your coffee. I'm like, okay, if you want, and so which is good. So I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I really can't wait to be able to transition. That's the other thing that's exciting is like some guys get sucked into that military life, and I've it's always been part of who I am, but it's not who I am, And so,
Oh yeah.
And so that's where it's like I love the military and I'm doing the job right now as best I can, but I can't wait to be able to transition to hopefully follow my own dreams and bring this up to so that more people can have our coffee.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, well, you guys are definitely pretty successful as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're trying.
Yeah.
And so I'm on Gun Monkeys podcast, so that's
I know, right?
the pinnacle of success.
It means you made it. Finally made it.
I'm there. I'm gonna call my mom. I'm there,
Hi,
Mom.
Mom. So other than Gun Monkeys, Armory, where else can you find your coffee?
Online, that's a good question.
Nowhere.
You can go to ONENATIONcoffee.com and you can order online. We do subscriptions and you can check us out. We also are, depends on what area you live in. We're in a lot of stores down in the Charleston area, and we're in a couple stores in Virginia Beach, a couple restaurants in Virginia Beach.
Nice.
Like Warrior Tap House, they serve our coffee, and then there's a couple gun stores in Virginia Beach that sell our coffee, and then in Charleston, the main chain is Palmetto State Armory.
I haven't heard of it.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, never heard of them.
Palmetto?
What's his name again? Paul what?
Palmetto State.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look him up. I'll have to look him up. He might be on Facebook or something.
Yeah. Do they have an Instagram though?
Yeah.
Do they have a podcast?
Okay.
No.
So
No, they do have like 4 stores though.
They have a couple stores, and we've been blessed to get into their stores. And
I've seen your displays in their stores, man. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
They're a lot nicer than the one we got. Just saying.
Well, some of those were hand built, and
actually
one of them is in repair. Phil's trying to fix it. Some kid leaned up against it and broke it. And, I mean, once again, first world problems.
Yeah,
some fat kid.
We're back on a normal shelf.
Yeah. Trying to open up his little Debbie's.
It's probably
I picture it now.
A Black Rifle hater. I'm taking these guys out.
Yeah.
So Matt Best was in there breaking our stage.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us.
Yeah, no, man,